Grab a seat, because I've got a story that's going to blow your mind. Picture this, the glitz and glam of an inaugural ball. Everyone's dressed to the nines, champagne flowing, cameras flashing. And there in the middle of it all is Melania Trump, the First Lady herself, dancing with some dude in a sharp military uniform. No biggie, right? Just a formal little spin on the dance floor. But hold up, fast forward a bit, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett drops a bomb on live TV that makes everyone's jaw hit the floor. She's like, y'all, Melania's been having an affair with a U.S. Army sergeant, and I've got the receipts to prove it. I mean, what, the whole country froze for a hot second, and then boom, chaos. You ready to hear the full scoop, because this gets wild? So let's set the scene. It's a big deal talk show light's bright host, leaning in like he's about to hear the secret to life. He's got Jasmine Crockett on the panel, and during a break, she's shown him something that's got his eyes bugging out. They come back on air, and he's like, Jasmine, you ready to tell the American people what you just dropped on us? She doesn't even flinch, man. Cool as a cucumber, she looks straight into the camera and says, yeah, I'm ready. The First Lady's been messing around with a sergeant, and it started months ago, right around that inaugural ball. Bro, you could hear a pin drop. 2 seconds of dead silence on live TV felt like an eternity. Then the panel just explodes. One guy's yelling, what are you even saying? You're accusing Melania Trump of cheating on the president. Jasmine doesn't back down. She taps this slim little folder on the desk and goes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I ain't just talking out of my neck. I've got reports, visitor logs, and a sworn statement from someone in that sergeant's unit. This ain't gossip, it's facts the people deserve to know. The host tries to jump in like, hold on. You're telling us this decorated Army sergeant was in a relationship with Melania while she's at the White House? Jasmine corrects him real quick. Nah, not at the White House. When she's traveling, hitting up events, staying at official spots. They had private meetups over and over, and every time the logs were conveniently off. Dude, you know what happened next. Across the country, folks in living rooms, at bars, on their phones, they're all like, yo, are you seeing this? She's really out here saying it. Texts are flying, social media's on fire, clips of Jasmine are spreading faster than a wildfire. Cable news cuts into their regular stuff, and there's this one shot from a bar in Iowa. Everybody's glued to the TV, beers half raised, nobody saying a word. It's like the whole place is holding its breath. What made it hit so hard, though, was Jasmine's vibe. She wasn't out there yelling or pointing fingers trying to grab a headline. Nah, she was calm, steady, just laying out the truth like it's a fact you can't argue with, and that made it impossible to brush off. Of course, some folks tried. Within an hour, White House aides are on the phone with reporters like, this is absurd. Nothing like this ever happened. But it's too late, the fire's already burning. Someone on Twitter digs up footage from that inaugural ball, and there it is, Melania, in this stunning pale blue gown, dancing with a sergeant in uniform. At first, it looks like nothing, just a polite, formal moment. But now people are zooming in. Her hand lingers on his shoulder a little too long. Her smile ain't the fake photo op kind, it's real. And his eyes locked on her like nobody else is in the room. Suddenly, everyone's watching that clip with a whole new lens. Meanwhile, Jasmine ain't backing off. Cameras catch her leaving the studio, cool as ever, taking a call, while her aide's right behind her, clutching that same folder. And then, plot twist, Melania's actually live on TV at the same time at some charity gala in Oklahoma City for kids' cancer research. She's up there in a gold dress mid-speech when the news about Jasmine's claims hits the production team through their earpieces. You can see it, man? Melania pauses. Her hands shake just a tiny bit as she reaches for her water glass. Her face not panicked, not over the top, just stunned, like she knows something private just got dragged into the spotlight. Then out of nowhere, she steps back from the mic. Security swoops in, cameras cut, and the screen goes black. But you know that silence didn't last long, 'cause that footage from the ball, it's already viral. And Jasmine ain't the only one with receipts. That clip's been out there for months, buried in the background of media coverage from the Fort Worth, Texas inaugural ball. Back then, it looked classy, traditional, no big deal. But now people ain't just watching, they're dissecting. It's 1 minute and 32 seconds long, no sound, just visuals. Melania steps onto the dance floor with this sergeant named Rowan. Dude's tall built, got that military discipline vibe. He ain't smiling when he takes her hand, but she is. And it's not that cold, camera-ready smile folks always rag on. It's soft, real, like they've got history. Online people are slowing it down frame by frame. Yo, look. She touches his chest right there. Someone posts in a thread that blows up. That ain't no thanks for your service move, that's personal. Another post points out her lips moving during the dance. No audio, but lip readers are like she said his name Ellis, and the way she said it, that ain't small talk. While the internet's losing it, national media's playing catch-up. What looked like polite dancing back then now feels like a secret caught on tape. And everyone's asking the same thing. How did nobody notice this before? Easy answer, nobody was looking. Most cameras were on Donald Trump, who was droning on about national unity or whatever, while Melania danced in the background. The shot was wide music, loud, the night full of distractions. But now folks are zooming in on that moment where her hand slides behind his back instead of staying on his shoulder. It's quick, barely a second, but it don't look random no more. And Ellis, he ain't just some random soldier picked for the gig. His name wasn't out there at first, but Army records show he's 38. No wife, 2 overseas tours, clean slate, stationed at Joint Base San Antonio. Nobody cared back then. He danced, saluted, dipped out. Until now. Reporters start digging. Who picked Ellis to dance with the First Lady that night? Was it random, or did someone, maybe Melania, request him? An anonymous source from the event planning team spills to a journalist saying Melania personally okayed the dance partners after seeing their files. She said he looked dignified, the source claims. But it's the way she said it, not casual, like she already had her mind made up. It ain't hard proof, but damn, it's starting to add up. Then someone unearths a photo from earlier that night, a candid snap by a catering staffer who sold it to the press. It's Melania and Ellis alone for a sec near a hallway by the kitchen. She's fixing her bracelet. He's looking at her not like a soldier checking on the First Lady, but like a guy waiting for a sign. Twitter don't hold back. They look like they've done this before one post blows up. Like they've had talks nobody else knows about. Late-night shows jump on it, comedians cracking jokes, but also looking half-shocked. Meanwhile, in quieter corners, women are DMing Jasmine on the low, saying they've seen this kind of thing before. The long silences, the weird excuses, the fake smiles. Some call it projecting, others call it a gut feeling. Either way, nobody's watching that footage the same anymore. But suspicion ain't enough to shake a whole country. What comes next? Oh, it's bigger. At 3:42 a.m., Jasmine gets an encrypted email. No real name, subject line just says, "You're not wrong, but there's more." It's vague, no files attached, just a short note from someone claiming to be in Ellis's unit. I don't know what the world's gonna do with this. It starts, but I've seen stuff that don't add up. He ain't the guy we thought he was. They talk about Ellis acting off for 6 months, random disappearances, using personal time without clearance, late-night drives, getting all quiet and defensive when anyone asked where he'd been. Jasmine reads it twice, forwards it to her chief of staff to verify. Within hours, 2 more messages roll in, one from a junior officer at Fort Sam Houston, another from a retired sergeant who saw Ellis meeting a black SUV with government plates 3 times in an empty lot off base. That's when Jasmine's team starts digging for real. They find visitor logs. Officially, Ellis had 7 visitors at different bases over 5 months. 4 were family. One's listed as White House liaison. The last 2 names are blacked out. But the timestamps, they line up with Melania's public travel schedule, and these ain't official meet and greets. Every single one happened off hours midnight to 4 a.m. in restricted guest housing areas meant for bigwigs. Someone worked hard to hide those visits, but the pieces are coming together. Jasmine's staff files Freedom of Information Act requests for base logs, while whistleblowers keep dropping tips. An ops officer confirms the date, saying, "I ain't saying she broke laws, but I know what I saw." That wasn't no policy visit. Back at Jasmine's Dallas office, her team builds a timeline. Ellis was at Joint Base Andrews days before Melania flew in for a private family stop in Maryland. Aides thought she was visiting a cousin. Turns out no record of that cousin exists. A Baltimore journalist snags security footage from a hotel garage near Annapolis. A black SUV rolls in, a uniformed man steps out, followed by a woman with long brown hair, dark glasses, and a headscarf. They head straight to an elevator. No staff, no check-in, no cams on their floor. It's grainy, but side by side with photos, it sure looks like Ellis and Melania. Now it ain't just Jasmine's crew sniffing around, independent reporters are on it. A Phoenix podcast called The Sergeant, and the secret shoots to the top of Spotify overnight. People ain't just asking if it's true, they're asking how deep the cover-up goes. 'Cause this ain't just about an affair no more. It's about logistics, security protocol. How's a first lady meeting a military officer without someone high up signing off? And why didn't anyone speak out sooner? Online, one theory takes off. Maybe folks did speak and their voices got buried under red tape and fear. That's why Jasmine's reveal hits so hard. It ain't just a scandal, it's a spotlight on how power works. But a spotlight ain't enough. The world needs something undeniable to make this real. That moment comes at the Hearts Forward Gala in Oklahoma City, a fancy benefit for pediatric cancer research. Melania shows up gold gown, low-key entrance with Secret Service tight around her. She looks fine at first, backstage aides chatting while a news crew sets up. She's quiet, unreadable as a producer gives her cues. Her speech is short, 10 minutes after a teen violinist plays. At 8:32 p.m., she's on stage. "Good evening," she starts, voice soft but steady, talking about Strength Family's kids fighting cancer. She's killing it, voice don't waver, posture on point. But right then backstage, a staffer checks his phone. Jasmine's interview clip, it's everywhere, and that ball footage playing side by side with live shots of Melania on stage. A producer whispers to the director, who taps his mic and mutters, "Tell her team." A coordinator slips to the stage's edge, signaling an aide. The aide makes a cut-it motion. Melania pauses mid-sentence. She don't know the full deal yet, but the vibe shifts. The room feels heavy. Her earpiece crackles the director's voice, just keywords: live TV, Crockett, allegations, sergeant, footage. Now. She stops cold. Her hand grips the podium. A low murmur spreads through the crowd. Some check their phones. A woman in the third row gasps, showing her husband the screen. Headlines already screaming Melania's secret. First Lady's midnight visitor. Crockett claims Melania lied. Melania's breathing changes, controlled but tight. She looks left-right. A Secret Service agent steps closer. She reaches for her water, but her fingers shake too much. She sets it down, looks at the crowd, tries to speak. Nothing comes out. The room's dead quiet. Cameras broadcast regionally, but picked up by live streamers catch it all. She presses her lips together, blinks hard a few times. She don't collapse or bolt. She just turns from the mic steps back into her security team's arms. Whispers fill the ballroom. Guests grab phones, some torn between filming and standing in respect. The feed cuts to a white logo. "We are experiencing technical difficulties." But social media's way ahead. Clips drop in minutes, 3 angles of her pausing, turning the tension in her jaw, her pale face. Was it fear, shame, shock? Some say betrayal. Others say exhaustion, like she's been carrying this weight for months. And it finally broke free. The White House drops a one-liner within the hour. The First Lady experienced a brief medical episode and is now resting. No mention of Jasmine Ellis, no denial, no nothing. Just silence, which to a lot of folks spoke louder than words. While Melania vanishes from the spotlight, Jasmine steps into it, and she ain't done yet. Headlines hit hard and fast. Crockett crosses the line. Congresswoman weaponizes personal life. Some call it politics, others vengeance. Backlash comes quick, especially from conservative outlets. Commentators rip into her, saying she's dragging a private mess into public for clout. Reckless, vindictive, even dangerous, they call her. A former White House official rants on radio. This is the ugliest stunt since Clinton. She's not just accusing the First Lady of cheating, she's pulling the military into it. That ain't courage, that's chaos. But Jasmine don't budge. No press conference, no apology tweet. She just heads back to Capitol Hill for a committee meeting like it's any other day. Reporters swarm her. "Congresswoman, you still stand by your claims." She don't stop walking, just says, "I stand by the truth." Later, she tweets 5 words, "Power hides, but not forever." Boom, conversation shifts. While big networks debate her motives, smaller accounts online flood with support. Young voters, military spouses, moderates, they don't see a fame chaser. They see guts. Then comes the leak. Jasmine's team didn't plan to drop files so soon, but the heat's too much. That night, her office releases a statement. "Due to misinformation and attacks on Congresswoman Crockett, we're releasing redacted docs from independent sources, verified legally. They don't prove an affair outright, but they show patterns, inconsistencies in travel logs, military access, and classified comms. The files ain't sexy, just dry paperwork, but they paint a picture. 7 visitor records with redacted names match Melania's schedule. 3 expense reports for Ellis show flights to cities she was photographed in. 1 White House memo flags unscheduled time gaps in her itinerary. It's smoke, not fire, but in context, it's loud. Critics still push back. She's making leaps, one pundit scoffs. No proof they were ever alone together. But the vibe's changing. People ain't asking if something happened, they're asking who kept it quiet. Late-night hosts who mocked Jasmine days ago now say she might have forced a reckoning. One quips hard to be wrong when the First Lady walks off stage mid-speech and ghosts for 3 days. Then a Pew poll drops quietly. Jasmine's approval with independents jumps 8 points in 72 hours. Under 35 voters, it doubles. Young women especially vibe with her. She ain't afraid to call out hypocrisy, ain't worried about keeping the powerful comfy. As one TikTok user puts it, she said what needed saying and brought receipts. Jasmine stays low-key that week, showing up to work voting, chilling in budget meetings. No extra flair, no big crew. But the silence around her, it's electric. Everyone's waiting for what's next. 'Cause whether you buy her story or not, one thing's clear. Jasmine Crockett flipped the script and she ain't backing down. But rumors and leaks ain't enough for folks anymore. They want hard proof. And real soon, they're going to get closer than they ever thought. By sunrise in San Antonio, those redacted files are getting torn apart online by analysts, vets, ex-White House staff, even legal bloggers. Most agree this ain't just speculation, it's legit. One spreadsheet stands out, tracking Melania's off-the-record moves from February to July, overlaid with Ellis's base assignments and Army travel records. Results 6 dates where they're in the same city, not for events or speeches, but during unexplained personal time. One entry has them in Jackson, Mississippi on a weekend when nobody can explain why her plane stopped there from Dallas. Ellis's expense form shows he got paid for 2 days at a hotel 4 blocks from her airstrip. Coincidence? Some still say yeah, but another file's tougher to shrug off. A White House memo level. 2 Eyes only mentions a scheduling misalignment with her security and an unnamed military officer in a secured zone without notice. Timestamp matches Jackson. It's vague, but it's something. Then there's phone logs redacted, but the metadata talks. Over 3 months, Ellis's phone had 30-plus late-night calls to an encrypted federal line area code tied to high-level exec branch staff. Tech journos note that line ain't for chit-chat. It's for discretion. Anonymous base personnel interviews add weight. One says he changed after February. Used to be sharp-focused, then got quiet, guarded like he's hiding something. Another, he'd leave base on short notice, said he had clearances we didn't need to know about. His body language. Something personal was up. A room log from a government residence near Fort Meade shows overnight bookings under an alias, but the check-in signature matches Ellis's handwriting, flagged by a whistleblower who knew him. Still no smoking gun, no texts, no pics beyond that dance, no late-night meetup vids. But the pile of context, it's getting heavy. The public ain't waiting for perfect proof no more. Cable news gets sharper. Even some conservative voices admit on background the White House botched this. Melania's still MIA, 3 days of nothing. No updates, no denial. Behind the scenes, Jasmine's staff says 2 more military whistleblowers reached out hinting the affair was real and covered up. Jasmine keeps it chill at a school safety panel in Austin, saying, "I ain't into tabloid drama." But when someone in public office, even ceremonial, uses access to break protocol, it's about national interest, not morality accountability. Crowd claps. It's the first clear, calm take in weeks. While the debate rages, Jasmine's inbox fills with messages, voters, vets, ex-staffers, even folks from past administrations. Most say, thanks for not being scared to speak. But public support ain't the final word. The only one who ain't talked yet is the man in the middle. And when he does, everything flips. 4 days of White House silence hit different. News ain't calling it developing no more. It's a scandal. First Ladygate trends. Morning shows roll timelines. Radio debates if silence equals guilt. Melania still mute. The president, not a peep, no presser, no tweets, nothing. Outside the West Wing, protesters gather small at first signs like, if she lied, what else is hidden? By day 2, it's over 100, mostly young, quiet, not yelling, just focused. Rallies pop up nationwide at local offices, not because folks hate Melania, but because trust feels played with. Army spouses in Des Moines drop a raw video. One woman tearing up, "My husband couldn't see me for 4 months in training, but this guy had secret visits with the First Lady. Explain that to my kids." It gets 2.3 million views in a day. Journalists swarm San Antonio, knocking on doors for anyone who knew Ellis. Then an airman at Lackland leaks a clip to a local reporter. It's Melania stepping out of a government ride late at night beyond the main gate, civilian clothes, plainclothes, military escort. She wasn't scheduled there. It's grainy, shot through a fence, but the posture hair heals, it's her. Timeline 2 weeks before the ball. Even moderate outlets like The Hill stop hedging. Unexplained contact raises questions. White House comms finally mumbles, "We don't entertain gossip. The First Lady's private." But the real fire comes at a Tulsa event when a reporter asks Trump off the cuff about the allegations. He smirks, says fake news, and turns away. It ain't the words, it's the smirk. Social media erupts. He didn't deny it. He looked like he already knew. Trump knew trends hard. Jasmine stays quiet for now, planning a town hall in Amarillo. But before she steps on stage, a military reporter calls her team. Rowan just agreed to talk. Dude's been silent, hidden behind base gates, his CO saying he's focused on duties not authorized to speak. Until now. A defense journalist, Kara Hensley, runs a no-frills military podcast out of Albuquerque. At 7 a.m. she tweets, "Just got off the phone with Sergeant Rowan. Full interview drops in 4 hours. You'll want to hear it. No filters, no games. Internet freezes. Nobody saw this coming." When the audio drops, her site crashes from traffic. It's 13 minutes secure line, his voice calm but real. "I didn't speak before because once this got political, it stopped being about truth," he says. He don't confirm or deny the affair. "I've worked with civilians, some from the White House. I've escorted officials, been at events. That ain't unusual. But I was told to keep meetings off record, delete entries, say I was elsewhere. That ain't standard. That ain't what I signed up for." Kara asks straight up, "Did you have a personal relationship with the First Lady?" He hesitates. "I had an understanding with someone in power. That's all I'll say. I'm loyal to my country, but I won't lie to cover for folks who think they're above accountability." It's vague, maddeningly vague, but real. He confirms visitor logs being at Fort Meade, late-night meets with someone from Melania's circle. Never says her name, but come on, we all know. Then he drops a line that hits. When folks ask if something happened, they really want to know if rules still apply to the powerful. I think we all know the answer. It's quiet, controlled, but it lands hard. Outlets clip it. Twitter's flooded. For the first time, it ain't just scandal, it's the system behind it. Conservatives try to downplay. He didn't say it outright, we're chasing shadows. But folks ain't waiting for a full confession. They've got the dance clip logs Lackland video now. Ellis's voice saying just enough to make denial feel fake. By day's end, the Department of Defense announces a review of unauthorized interactions between civilians and active duty personnel. No names, but the hint's clear. In Amarillo, Jasmine steps on stage at a packed civic center as the interview news sinks in. Standing ovation. She don't mention Ellis, just says, "We've been taught the powerful don't owe us truth. If you're rich enough, married high enough, you walk away from hard questions. I don't accept that. Never will." Room erupts. She don't need to say more. Ellis spoke, and even if it's careful, it's real enough to back what folks already feel. But with his voice out there, the last person left to speak is Melania. And when she does, nobody's ready for how quiet, simple, and final it feels. No warning, no press release, no heads up. 4 days after Ellis's interview, she shows at Ronald Reagan Children's Hospital in Tempe, Arizona. It's a low-key visit on the hospital's calendar for weeks. No media planned, just FLOTUS to visit pediatric ward. Word leaks fast. By the time she arrives, a small crowd's outside, staff, patients' families, a couple local photogs who took a gamble driving over. She don't wave, don't smile, just walks steady in a plain gray dress, nothing like her usual glam. For 20 minutes, she's inside reading to kids sitting with parents signing teddy bears for tots with IVs. She's gentle, asks about birthdays, compliments a girl's red nail polish. Then in the hallway, as she's about to leave, a nurse probably didn't mean to ask. Why now, Melania looks at her, pauses, then says, clear as day, because disappearing doesn't fix anything. No anger, no spin, just 7 words. She don't say more, just glances down the hall and heads out. That quote spreads faster than anything she's ever said. Disappearing doesn't fix anything. It hits different. Folks who trashed her start wondering if she's carrying more than they thought, sadness, regret maybe. Still, the silence cost her. Some editorials say it's too little too late. Others call it a quiet admission, the closest to owning up we'll get. Most agree, she looks tired, not physically, but emotionally, like she knows the truth, and knows nothing she says now changes what folks believe. That night, White House press exec Ronald Brent faces reporters. Every question's about her words. He plays it neutral. She was at a children's outreach. Her remarks weren't political. A journo fires back, but they were public, interpreted by millions as a response. Brent don't budge, interpret how you want. No further comment. But the story's out of their hands. News repeats her line with reverence. Social media runs wild. People apply it to their lives. Disappearing don't fix anything. Some see confession. Others a warning that truth always surfaces. Jasmine, asked about it at an El Paso town hall, keeps it short. Sometimes folks speak loudest when they say the least. No gloating, no victory lap. Melania spoke on her terms. It ain't an admission, but it ain't a denial, just 7 words that feel honest, even if incomplete. For many, that small moment carries more weight than any press release. It don't solve nothing, don't change facts, but it makes her human again. And just like that, we're at a quiet crossroads. The storm ain't over, it just morphed. Cable debates, op-eds stack up online. It's theories, defenses, memes. Everyone's got a take, but nobody agrees on what the truth means. What they do agree on. The convo shifted. For weeks, this Melania Ellis mess felt like tabloid bait, celeb gossip, and political rapping. But once the noise settles, what's left is deeper personal, a question of honesty, power, trust. This ain't just about a first lady maybe breaking vows. It's about what the powerful think they can hide and who's got the guts to yank the curtain back. Jasmine never drops a final big statement. Don't need to. Her silence at the end is on purpose strategic. She said what she had to let the facts talk. When facts weren't loud enough, patterns filled the gaps. By month's end, her poll numbers hold steady, even grow a loyal base, not for what she exposed, but how. Clear, calm, refusing to let powerful folks get special treatment. Trump never addresses the affair directly. His staff eventually puts out a lame note. The president and first lady remain focused on family and serving Americans. Translation: drop it. But folks don't fully drop it. Ellis quietly transfers to Nevada. No press, no punishment, just a new post, smaller rank, and the weight of being known but not named. Melania does 2 more public gigs that year, smiles, waves, stands by her husband without flinching. But she never says more than those 7 words, disappearing doesn't fix anything. That line takes on a life of its own. Teachers use it in class. Activists slap it on signs. Therapists tell clients who've stayed quiet too long. Maybe that's the lesson here, not who's guilty or innocent, but what happens when silence replaces truth. Sometimes folks dip out to dodge consequences. Sometimes they wait for the heat to fade. But mostly, they go quiet because deep down they know what's real, even if they ain't ready to say it. This story of Melania and Ellis ain't just scandal, it's how everyone around reacted. Staffers who stayed mum aides, who covered track systems, built to shield image over honesty. And in the middle, one congresswoman said enough. Jasmine didn't flip the world overnight, but she reminded us of something big. Truth don't always come clean and neat. Sometimes it's in bits, late-night emails, redacted files, dance clips you didn't care about till you watch twice. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In the end, we ain't left with a tidy headline or perfect confession, just a moment that pulled the curtain back long enough to make us question the story we've been fed. Was it right to air something so personal? Fair depends on how much you think power should be protected. But Jasmine's words from that town hall stick. If we don't hold the powerful accountable, what example do we set? Maybe that's the real takeaway. Not politics, affairs, or media spin, but the price of silence and the cost of truth. So a couple weeks pass after Melania's hospital visit in Tempe. The headlines ain't as screaming loud as they were, but the buzz is still there, simmering under the surface. People are still dissecting every frame of that dance video, still retweeting Jasmine's power hides but not forever line, still quoting Melania's words like it's some kind of life lesson. But behind closed doors, stuff is brewing, big stuff. See, while the public's been arguing over who's right and who's wrong, Jasmine's team in Dallas is quietly stacking more evidence. They ain't done digging, and what they're about to uncover is going to turn this from a personal scandal into a straight-up national security question. It starts with a late-night call to Jasmine's chief of staff from a whistleblower who ain't just some random soldier. This guy's a former Secret Service agent who worked on Melania's detail during those early months after the inaugural ball. He's retired now, living out in Virginia, but he's been watching this whole mess unfold on TV, and his conscience is eating at him. He don't want to go public, too much risk, but he's got info, and he's willing to spill if it stays anonymous. I was there for some of those trips, he tells the staffer, over an encrypted line, the ones that didn't make the official logs. There were protocols broken, not just for personal reasons, but for stuff that could have compromised security. I'm talking unauthorized meetups, unvetted locations, and radio silence from the top on why it was happening. Someone way above my pay grade signed off on keeping it quiet. Jasmine's team takes this seriously. They cross-check his claims with the visitor logs and travel records they already got. And guess what? It lines up. There's a specific trip to a small airfield in upstate New York, supposedly a quick stopover on Melania's way to a charity event in Buffalo. But the whistleblower says there was no charity prep that day. Instead, a black SUV met her at the Airfield, no Secret Service escort for a full 90 minutes, which is unheard of. The logs show Rowan was in the same area, flagged for temporary duty assignment with zero details on what that duty was. And here's the kicker. The Airfield security cams were malfunctioning that day. Convenient, right? But a local trucker who was dropping off cargo snapped a grainy pic on his phone of a woman in a scarf stepping into the SUV with a uniformed guy. It's blurry, but when Jasmine's team runs it through some basic enhancement software, the profiles match Melania and Ellis to a T. This ain't just about sneaking around no more. If Secret Service protocols were ditched, if locations weren't vetted, that's a breach that could have put the First Lady and, by extension, national interests at risk. Jasmine don't jump the gun, though. She ain't about to drop this on live TV without airtight proof. She tells her team to triple-check everything and reach out to more sources. Meanwhile, she's getting pressure from all sides. Some in Congress, mostly on the other side of the aisle, are calling for her to back off, saying she's turning a personal issue into a witch hunt. But others, even a few moderates, are whispering to her in the Capitol halls like, keep pushing. If there's a security lapse here, we need to know. Her inbox is still flooded with messages from regular folks. 2 moms vets, small-town workers all saying, don't let them silence you. We've got your back. While Jasmine's playing chess behind the scenes, the public ain't letting this die either. Protests outside the White House grow a little bigger every week. It's not huge crowds or anything, but it's steady folks with signs saying truth over power and no more secrets. A viral TikTok challenge pops up where people reenact that inaugural ball dance lip-syncing to Jasmine's TV clip with captions like, "What's your secret?" It's half joke, half protest, and it racks up millions of views. Then there's a subreddit called R First Lady Files that's basically turned into a citizen detective hub. Armchair sleuths are cross-referencing every public photo of Melania from the past year, looking for Ellis in the background, matching dates with military base events, even digging into old social media posts from soldiers who might have served with him. One user finds a deleted Instagram pic from a buddy of Ellis's posted months back, showing a group of soldiers at a bar near Fort Meade. And in the corner, barely visible, is a woman who looks a whole lot like Melania hair, tucked under a cap, sitting way too close to a guy in civilian clothes who matches Ellis's build. It's not proof, but it's enough to keep the internet buzzing. Now let's talk about Melania for a sec. She's made those 2 public appearances since the hospital, quote, right smiling, waving, standing by Trump like nothing's wrong. But anyone with eyes can see she's not the same. Her smiles don't reach her eyes no more. She's thinner, quieter, and when she speaks, it's just the bare minimum canned lines about supporting families or whatever. Paparazzi catch her leaving a D.C. hotel one morning. No entourage, just one Secret Service guy, and she looks straight up exhausted. The tabloids run wild with it, Melania breaking under pressure, First Lady hiding. More than an affair. But what they don't know is she's been having late-night meetings with a small circle of advisors, not the usual White House PR team, but personal lawyers and a crisis manager who's worked with high-profile celebs before. Word leaks to a reporter at Politico that she's weighing options, whatever that means. Divorce rumors start swirling, but there's no hard evidence. Still, the vibe is she's prepping for something, maybe to speak again, maybe to step away for good. Trump, meanwhile, is still dodging the whole thing. He's out there at rallies hyping up his base, but he don't touch the scandal with a 10-foot pole. That smirk from Tulsa keeps haunting him, though. Clips of it are still circulating, remixed with audio of Ellis's interview captioned, "He knew." Some of his own supporters start grumbling online, not because they believe the affair stuff, but because they think he's looking weak by not addressing it head-on. Just say it's fake and move on, man, one conservative influencer tweets. But behind-the-scenes sources close to the West Wing say he's furious, not at Melania, but at the staff for letting this spiral. He's reportedly chewed out his comms director for losing control of the narrative and ordered a full internal review of who leaked what to whom. Problem is, the leaks ain't coming from his team. They're coming from military folks and whistleblowers who don't answer to him. And speaking of the military, Rowan's transfer to Nevada didn't exactly bury his name. He's out of the spotlight working some desk job at a smaller base, but reporters ain't giving up. A military beat writer for a San Diego paper tracks down a former squad mate of Ellis's who's willing to talk off record. The guy says Ellis was a stand-up dude, always by the book, but last year he started acting different. He'd get calls, step away, come back looking stressed. Once I overheard him on the phone saying, "I can't keep doing this, it's too much risk." I didn't think much of it then, but now, man, it makes sense. The writer don't publish the full quote too risky without corroboration, but drops enough hints in his piece to keep the speculation alive. Then a bombshell: the Department of Defense's internal review, the one they announced after Ellis's interview, leaks a preliminary finding to CNN. It don't name names, but it confirms irregularities in protocol involving a civilian official and active duty personnel at multiple bases over a 6-month period. Social media explodes again. Irregularities. That's code for affair. No, that's code for security breach. This is where Jasmine steps back into the game. She's been quiet for a minute, letting the public and press chew on everything. But with the DoD leak and her team's new info from the Secret Service whistleblower, she knows it's time to push harder. She don't do a big press conference, that ain't her style. Instead, she schedules a town hall in Houston, open to the public, live streamed on every platform. The place is packed standing room, only folks spilling into the parking lot with phones up recording. She walks on stage in a simple blazer, no notes, just a mic, and starts talking like she's speaking to friends. "Y'all, I didn't start this to tear anyone down," she says, voice steady. "I started it 'cause when power gets a free pass to break rules, we all pay the price. I've got new information not just about personal choices, but about gaps in security that could have put lives at risk. I'm calling for a congressional inquiry, not into a marriage, but into how protocols failed and who let them fail. If we don't ask these questions, who will?" The crowd roars. She don't drop the Airfield details or name the whistleblower. She's too smart for that. But she lays out enough to make it clear this is bigger than gossip now. It's about accountability at the highest level. Within hours, Congressional inquiry trends nationwide. Progressive lawmakers jump on board, drafting a resolution for a formal investigation into White House and military protocol breaches. Even a few Republicans, the ones who've been on the fence, start saying publicly, "Yeah, we need answers on the security angle." The White House pushes back hard, calling it a partisan stunt and a waste of taxpayer money. But the damage is done. The narrative ain't just about Melania and Ellis no more. It's about whether the system itself is rotten. And then, just when you think it can't get crazier, Melania does something nobody saw coming. It's a random Tuesday. No scheduled events, no leaks to the press. She shows up at a tiny community center in Bethesda, Maryland, for a last-minute visit to a women's shelter. No cameras allowed, just a handful of staff and volunteers who are sworn to secrecy. But one worker, a young mom who's been through hell herself, can't help but post a vague tweet. "Met someone today who reminded me pain is universal even at the top." Her story ain't what you think. No names, but everyone knows who she's talking about. Word spreads, and a local reporter who's got a source at the shelter confirms Melania was there for over 2 hours, not just shaking hands, but sitting down with women, listening to their stories of abuse loss starting over. She don't give a speech, don't pose for pics. But as she's leaving, she tells the shelter director quietly, almost to herself, "I know what it's like to feel trapped by what people expect." That line leaks, and it hits like a gut punch. Social media splits hard. Some are like, "She's playing the sympathy card, don't fall for it." Others are softer. "Maybe she's been stuck in a cage we don't see." "Maybe she's human." The tabloids go nuts, spinning it as Melania's cry for help or First Lady confesses to unhappy marriage. But the real story ain't clear. Is she hinting at her marriage, the scandal, or just connecting with women who've been through it? Either way, it's the first time in months she sounded real. Not scripted, not guarded. And it throws everyone off, even Jasmine, who's asked about it at a quick press gaggle after a Capitol vote. She pauses, then says, "I'm not here to judge anyone's pain. I'm here to make sure power don't hide behind it." Classy, no shade, but firm. The White House scrambles. Their comms team puts out a statement at 2 a.m. calling the emails fabricated and part of a coordinated attack on the administration. But tech experts on X are already verifying metadata, saying it looks legit. Trump finally breaks his silence. Not at a presser, but on Truth Social posting witch hunt lies. Nobody cares about fake emails. "We're making America great." It's classic Trump, but it don't land the same. Even some of his diehards are like, "Bro, just explain it. Why the secrecy?" The pressure's on now. Congress can't ignore this. The inquiry ain't just a possibility, it's happening. Ellis, out in Nevada, gets dragged back into the spotlight. The DoD quietly suspends him pending further review, not for the affair rumors, but for potential breaches of protocol. He don't speak again, but his lawyer releases a short note. Sergeant Rowan cooperated fully with prior reviews and maintains his commitment to service. He will not comment further at this time. It's neutral, but folks read between the lines he ain't fighting the suspension, which makes some think he knows more than he said. As the hearing date looms, Jasmine gets a private call from a senior Democrat on the committee. Look, you've done the heavy lifting, they tell her, but this is gonna get ugly. They'll try to paint you as the villain, not the whistleblower. You ready for that? She don't hesitate. I've been ready since the first day I spoke up. If they come for me, they better bring facts, not noise. And that's where she's at, unshaken, focused, knowing this fight ain't just about one scandal no more. It's about whether the powerful get to play by different rules. The night before the first hearing, something wild happens. A small group of military spouses, wives, and husbands of soldiers from bases across the country organize a silent vigil outside the Capitol. They ain't protesting Melania or Ellis specifically. They're holding signs that say, "Protect our service, protect the truth." One woman whose husband served with Ellis years back tells a reporter, "This ain't about cheating. It's about whether our military gets used as a shield for personal games. Our families sacrifice too much for that." The image of them standing there quiet under the streetlights goes viral. It's a reminder that this story ain't just DC drama, it's personal to a lot of folks who've got skin in the game. And Melania, she's back in D.C., spotted only once that week, walking through the White House Rose Garden alone, no cameras, no staff, just pacing. A gardener who saw her later tells a friend she looked lost in thought, like she's deciding something big. What that decision is, nobody knows. But the next morning, as the hearing kicks off live on every network, her office releases a single sentence: "The First Lady will not be attending today's proceedings, but respects the process." It's vague, but it's the first time she's acknowledged the inquiry at all. Social media's split again. Some call it cowardice, others say it's dignity. I think it's her drawing a line. She ain't disappearing no more, but she ain't playing their game either. By day's end, the hearing don't wrap with a neat bow. No big gotcha moment, no confession from anyone. But it do shift something. Cable news ain't calling it First Lady Gate no more, they're calling it the protocol scandal. Editorials in the Times and Post start framing it as a test of whether Congress can hold power accountable no matter who's involved. And regular folks, they're glued to it. Not because it's sexy drama, but because it feels like a fight for what's fair. A diner owner in Ohio tweets, "I don't care who slept with who. I care if my tax dollars paid for secrets that could have hurt us." That's what this hearing's about. But the real twist comes that night. After the hearing wraps, a new audio clip drops online, not from WikiLeaks, not from a reporter, but from an anonymous burner account on SoundCloud. It's grainy short, just under a minute, but it's Melania's voice. Clear as day, speaking to someone off-mic time, stamped months back, based on background noise matching a known event. She says, "I thought we had more time. If this gets out, it's not just me, it's everything." The clip cuts off. Nobody knows who she's talking to, what everything means. But it's real. Voice analysts on CNN confirm it ain't AI or a fake. Social media detonates. What's everything? Was she warning someone? Is this proof she knew it was wrong? The White House don't respond for 12 hours, then finally says the audio is out of context and irrelevant to current discussions. Too late. The clip's already got 10 million plays.